Good morning, everyone, and thank you so much for Sonia to inviting me for this event. It's my honor to be here to speak to all of you, and I think the most valuable asset in your life is your time, and also my time as well, because it's not reversible. So I want to return to your time invested here with the knowledge, and especially my legal knowledge in this area. And first, this is a disclaimer, and that everything that I'm talking about is based on today, October 22nd, 2025, because we know immigration law is changing rapidly. And actually, in a couple of weeks, and the immigration RCC and the Ministry of Immigration will publish their new strategies in the next year. And we've already heard within the legal communities that there will be a huge change in the immigration system. And we've already seen this happening in neighboring countries. So I hope what I talked about today will give you some insights and prepare you better in your path ahead, in your time, like in Canada. First, I want to talk about something about myself. When you look at me as a lawyer, I will tell you several years ago when I was at a shelter with my children, I started English as a second language school. So I went to the institution to learn English. At the time, I didn't know what the word damp is for the weather like today. It's damp. What does damp mean? And also, what does the word miscellaneous mean? And once I remember, my children, my son was in the kindergarten, and he came home with the song, Up, Down, Funk You Up. It really nerved me out, because I didn't know what it meant, and I thought it was some dirty words. So it's it was my level of English. And I just want to tell you that no one, unless they come from the English speaking as native language or official language from their hometown, I came from China, so English is not my first language, and I'm learning. And if people tell you that, oh, your English is too hard to understand, sometimes it's probably because they don't spend time listening, paying attention to your English. I will tell you something openly. Once there's a lawyer telling me before the court, telling me that he cannot understand my English. And I actually say to that lawyer, don't worry, you can read my written submission. So English skills can be improved with the time. And it's mainly about how you view yourself. So I just want to tell you, I was once there when I went to law school, and my classmates talked about how easy LSAT is, and they just did it randomly, didn't prepare. I did LSAT 3 times and prepared me to get into law school. And obviously, I have a PhD in history, and a PhD in history didn't prepare me a job in Canada. So the major reason for me to go to law school is for a better career path. Because at that time, I was in a shelter. I was a refugee claimant, so I didn't have a open work permit. I had a open work permit, but I was based on my refugee claim. So that being said, I was not able to find a job over the market, and that was the COVID time. I was working part-time in the university library, and all the library shut down and lost my job. So it was a time that eventually I thought about what I wanted to do, because I was in a very complicated legal circumstance, and eventually I thought about my career path ahead, and I wanted to figure out where I was in my legal status. So that's why I went to law school. And by figuring out where I was in my complicated legal math, I was able to learn, as not only as a lawyer, but also as a client. Once, I was a refugee client before, so I waited in the system for 7 years to get a PR. So I kind of resonated with the anxiety and frustration with the system, and I really want to make this system better. And that's why I would like to talk about something about myself. It's not I won't say I understand you, because everyone's circumstance is very unique, right? So yes, this is me from Toronto Star. Because now, like my clients, when they come to me, they would just Google me. And when my lawyer, who is now the federal court judge, and like Justice Evie Go, and she was my lawyer for the legal clinic. So we were fighting against for the child tax benefit. And she asked me, would you mind talking to Toronto Star? So I remember I was learning English. I just came to Canada. Toronto Star, oh, it's a Toronto regional newspaper, so people in Kingston wouldn't know. I say, oh yeah, for sure, I could do that. And turned out Toronto Star, later I Googled it, Toronto Star is the biggest media in Canada. And then I posted like personal story, and there's no way for me to hide, like to pretend to be, the rich kid, or yeah, it's me, like it's on the media. However, I'm very grateful for this publication, because it also helped me to get to propose myself, and also expose myself to my clients, and to let them know that it's not like, because I heard from clients, oh, you lawyers only want to make money from me. First, this is my job, but my job on the other hand is to help you to get into a better path. So this is what I want to do today, and to share my knowledge with you. And as I mentioned, this is a disclaimer. There's nothing to constitute the legal advice. So we talked about the law firm. My law firm is not called Zhang Law or Ninjing Law, whatever. It's called Bridgepoint. The reason that I call it Bridgepoint, because I wanted it to become a bridge for you to build up your life for all of my clients. Because I will say, frankly, if you want to immigrate to Canada in this immigration path, no one can spoon feed you. No one can prepare everything and just give the information to your mouth, one spoon by another spoon, and telling you this is step A, step B, step C. You just copy and go ahead. And actually, it's now changing with the immigration law system. It's become impossible for you to make any frauds in this system. Because in the past, you probably heard about people talking about, oh, I just made this up and I got my PR status. It's no longer the case, because the law is also developing. 25 years ago, I heard about my friends who immigrated to Canada 25 years ago. And he said he just did the interview and shake hands with the visa officer and just said, hello, how are you? And he was approved as the skilled worker and immigrant to Canada. But no, that is no longer the case. Now you have to go past so many tests, like language tests, also the score system, and to grade you into, to put it into a different category. And in this complicated, process, I would say it is not easy. Many immigration lawyers recognize that. Actually, when I go to the immigration law summit, some senior immigration lawyers who are white Canadians, and they would tell honestly, if they grade themselves in the system, they're under 400 points, and by no means can they be invited into this system. So I would feel, the law firm that we call I call it the name Bridgepoint, because I do want you to have the knowledge and have my help to build up your path in Canada, and eventually you will move forward and you will say goodbye to the immigration files behind, and you get your PR card happily. So this is the moment that I feel that I can cheer up and applause for your success. And that's why I'm also doing a little bit business law, because I am more than happy to see my previous immigration clients or refugee clients who are coming back and to ask for information on business law and become entrepreneurs. And so this is the rewarding time for me. And this is about our law firm, and we just go ahead. So, for our practice, I do all kinds of immigration law and refugee law. So mainly, not only individual immigration, family immigration, and also corporate immigration, and I also do refugee law. And refugee law also including the refugee hearing, refugee appeal, and also something between immigration and the refugee. It's more like immigration rejected decision, like appeal cases. So this is more like immigration litigation, because I feel litigation is my interest, is my call. So this is about me and my law firm, and just like this is kind of like I set up as my law firm is also my mission, and all the staff on our team, they all agree the same value when they join the team. And I guess we are providing service for people who are in need, and sometimes English is not their first language. We need to be more patient. So that's why, like, I do find for most like immigrant clients, writing is the best way for communication, because it's easier, it's clear. And to me, frankly speaking, getting on the phone call with the other side, especially like for a lawyer, like debating with the other side, I will always say, can we do a video call? Because if I see the people, say pronounce, it will help me to guess the next word, even if I missed a word. So this is like this is about me and about my law firm, and we will get into today's topic. So I have a question for you, like. Because this is a life choice, like it's not recorded or reported, don't worry. So how many of you are interested in immigrating to Canada as a permanent residency here? Okay, thank you. I see almost all of you are here for this purpose, because I'm not saying Canada is the heaven. Because it's not like a perfect country. It has its like defects. It has its problems. Like like sometimes people complain. I just like I run away. And on the newspaper, you will see like people complain about how high the cost is to live in Canada, and they just escaped from Canada. So I'm not saying Canada is the perfect country. Everyone comes. It's impossible. 95% of the people all over the world are not immigrating. So only 5% of the people over the world are immigrating to other countries. So we are here to talk about the immigration path, and this is like what I feel. If because my children, like they definitely like they came here at a very young age, they call Canada home. So it is home. It feels like sometimes it's not perfect. You put up with it, but like how can we get it better, right? So it's really like I want to talk to people who would like to join immigrant and also like immigrant to Canada, and use your own voice and power to make your life better, and in the same time to make this country better. This is not conflicting. Like these days you will receive propaganda on the media saying that immigration is hurting the country, which is wrong. We will see the statistics from Canadian government later in my presentation. So this is the statistics from Canada.ca. It shows that actually immigration immigration matters in business in Canada, and 32% of all the business in Canada through the country are these owners are with like immigrants, and they are. These immigrants, they account for 32% of all the business in Canada, and they have paid staff. So immigrants are creating job opportunities to Canada. And in Canada, there are over 800,000 entrepreneurs who are immigrants, so business owners who are immigrants. And among this 800,000 business, over 250,000 business have paid staff. So immigrants not only employ themselves, create a job for themselves, become self-employed, and they also have created job opportunity to local market. And we can see the statistics here. It's from the Canada based on the 2021 statistics from the Canadian government. So 40% of the software publishers are immigrant. And in this industry, and you can see 43% of their dentist offices are owned by immigrants. Many hygienists are previous dentists in their home country, and they came to Canada and work in the dentistry, and later they get a credential. And we can also see, restaurants, and which is over 53% are owned by the immigrants, and also the truck transportation, which is heavily with immigration, immigration business owners. So when in the market, these days in propaganda, you will see immigrants are stealing our job opportunities. No, it's not the truth. The truth is immigration and the immigrant business owners are a very important part of Canadian business. So this is the foundation what I want to talk about, because when people are talking about unemployment rate, which is true, because in some specific work permit, you can only apply for a specific work permit in the market where unemployment rate is below some number. So that being said, in these days, it is harder to get the LEMIA specific work permit. However, it is not hopeless. So we'll go ahead to talk about the path to become permanent residency from the international students. So this is the website which I would highly recommend to check. This information, if you Google, sometimes you will see the sponsored ad pumping up. So they are not the correct information. The correct information is almost always from the Canadian government website. So if you see anything started with Canada.ca, and it's usually reliable. If sometimes you can see the information from the immigration consultant or whatever, say have the maple leaf a figure, and say try to imitate in the Canadian government website, which is wrong. So all this important information is open and published on Canada.ca. So if you Google for information and always ask for information from Canada.ca, and you will find all this information there. So there's nothing hidden. So there's nothing secret. So and most of you, especially if you're in Canada, you're international students, you have the skills to get information. So this is the best website to get information. And also ministry, IRCC website is also another another one. And IRCC website is also ends with Canada.ca, so you can find this information online openly. So there are several categories. I will just mention express entry. Today, what I mentioned here, I'm not talking about family sponsorship. If you marry or in a common law relationship with a Canadian citizen, so this is a separate story. So I'm talking about how you get permanent residency here through the express entry, which is a pointing system, which you collect points, your language, your skills, your working experience, and also your previous resume. So there are several categories. Major category is federal skilled trades, federal skilled workers, and a Canadian express experience class CEC. So you will hear immigration lawyers or immigration consultants talking about CEC, FSW, and FST, this kind of program all the time. So for the first two categories, they are open to all kinds of experience. For the third category, they are only open to specific careers, sometimes medical professionals, because this is a specific a category. The government set up to get talents that they want. So last year they did the IT JOR, and I haven't seen any JOR from IT categories this year. So it is changing. And during COVID, they did several expedited JORs for medical professions. So this is some information you need to keep an eye and look out into this information, because it's changing. Sometimes they will just open a category, and for example, recently it's the childcare supporter program, nanny program, we call it a caretaker program, it's a nanny program. It was open in March, was just click competition, and it was gone in 15 minutes. So this kind of program is special program. You always need to pay attention to this. How can I go to the next one? Thank you. So this is how the website looked like. so Canada.ca website, and also this is where you get your immigration information. So this is exactly like all this information here, how you can apply, who can apply, and all this information. If you want to save money, read it closely, and do not ask ChatGPT. ChatGPT and their database is usually delayed. They are usually like 1 year. I cannot recall the exact time, and they only capture the data like due like a year ago. So immigration is changing. You don't ask ChatGPT for information, because I did some research for ChatGPT. I asked him, ChatGPT, not him. I asked ChatGPT to give me some information about my today's like outline. They gave me the wrong information. Because I am in this industry, I know this information is outdated. So this is the zero category. And if you click into this category, it will guide you to next page. And it will show you it will show you what kind of information you need, and it will also show you like what kind of category you will get your points. So for the point system, it's a little bit complicated. So if you Google the immigration consultants, like sometimes say immigration lawyers, immigration consultants, they have their website, and they will provide like free test for you to input your information and give you an estimated points. It's not accurate, but it will give you some knowledge of what like category you are in. And we will see later, like please go ahead. We'll see like this is, so what we just saw was the federal government program. So it's from the Canada.ca, it's federal government, so it's like for everyone like in Canada. But in Ontario, we have some specific, it's the Ontario like immigration nominee program. So for Ontario government, we have our special program, and for different provinces, there are different programs. So if you check the Saskatchewan, Alberta, and also Nova Scotia, they have different like provincial program. I know I have like a client who recently got nominated by the Nova Scotia program as a medical profession, because they have like a much quicker like path compared to Ontario, unfortunately. So we lost the doctor. So in this province, but like if you check other provinces, they have different programs. And if you see, this program, it really like it's a good fit, and like you can check this like into it closely. So Ontario program, this is the Ontario program like page. We just saw the page, and this is the detail of the Ontario program page. So for those who are in the PhD program, and you don't need to have a job offer, so as long as you complete your PhD. So this is the Ontario government, and for PhD candidates like or PhD graduates, you will receive extra points, like 250, I cannot recall, 200, right? So to get your points for you to be selected by the Ontario government in the ONIP program. And for other like stream, Ontario streams, they will ask for specific category in your career. So they will pick the medical professions. Like 2 years ago, they did a pick for people in the farming industry. And also they did a pick for construction industry, because this is the talents the province need. So they have the discretion to decide who they want to pick. And so this is like another program that you will pay attention to, and it's separate from the federal government program. It's on the provincial website. So can you just go ahead? Yeah. Thank you. There, like as I mentioned, there are other paths like ahead for you, and just like athletic like program, just like Nova Scotia program, and also PEI has their farming program, and on Saskatchewan, on the west end, Saskatchewan, Alberta, they have their provincial program. British Columbia and Ontario actually have the most strict immigration programs. In British Columbia, their path in British Columbia province, their path of immigration in the job, like as a skilled worker, is much more stricter than it's much more strict than that in Ontario. But these two, Ontario, British Columbia, are notoriously strict in like permanent residence path for international students. So we can have a look. This is like open data on the website. And I just collected it before this lecture. You can see all the points for the draw and for the people who were invited in the past 2 months, and from October to August. And you can see, she just did a draw for health and social services occupations, and the points is 472. And for the provincial nominee is the program for those PhD students who have extra 200 points. So their points is rocket high, 778. And you can see the third one is a French language French language program. So it has 4,500 invitations sent out, and the points is 432. And if you see the Canadian Experience class, CEC, and they send out 1,000 invitation, and the points is 534. So I will be frank with you that tracking back this, draw and points, you can see if you are in the trade occupation, Canadian CEC, Canadian experience class, if your score is below 500, I would say it's hopeless. So the way to improve your score, language test, Canadian working experience. So during the COVID, there were several draws which the score was as low as 440, but there was only one time during the COVID. So generally speaking, during daily life, in the normal time, it's always above 500. However, if you look at the French language test, you can see the score is around 432, 452, and they have many candidates invitation sent out to candidates. So these days, I won't say French is the king, but it seems to be especially for those who you're coming from, the Spanish-speaking country. I will encourage my clients, can you do a French test? Because you don't need to be fluent in French, because they only ask for the intermediate level for French. So this is I have so many clients, even Chinese clients who are learning French now, because this is to add your grades, points in the point system, and also to give you more weight, also more choices. Also if you are applying for government position, they always French is an asset, and so this is official language. So can you just go? Thank you. Okay, so this is a mini quiz for you. So you graduated from a designated learning institution, for example, Queen's, St. Lawrence, whatever, and we'll give you the permanent residency ahead. Is that correct? Yes or no? Great, because many of these questions are found as an advertisement for some unlicensed people, and also unregulated a legal representative saying that, oh, you just come to Canada and you just pay us, this amount of money, and you get into your school and you will get a permanent residency ahead. So this is wrong. It's not guaranteed. And actually, study permit, when you prepare the study permit, I don't know if you have prepared your study permit yourself, it's always saying the intent of going back to your home country after finishing your study. So this is it's used this kind of wrong promise is used in market everywhere. I've seen this on social media, Instagram, and with the this improper advertisement. However, since you're here, you probably have the idea that this is not guaranteed. Yeah. Oh, yeah, this is a very hot topic these days. So, because so question, can you get a permanent residency only because you have a Canadian-born baby? It's on TikTok, recently, an influencer saying that, come to Canada, have babies, you become Canadian citizen. When I watched it, It's like shocking. Yeah, because it's your legal right to have babies like whenever you want to, like, right? So like give birth to a Canadian baby, like, which is good because birth rate in Canada is so low, and they welcome. That's another reason they welcome like immigrants. However, having a Canadian-born child only is not the foundation of the permanent residency. Why? Because that TikToker, I believe, he mentioned if you have a Canadian-born baby, you can have humanitarian and compassionate ground in Canada. Humanitarian and compassionate ground, the passing rate is under 30 or 40%. It's very low because this is the last straw in the immigration path. That means you don't have any other path and you ask for humanitarian compassion. And for humanitarian compassionate, the best interest of the children is a ground. However, if the baby was born and he was like 11 months old or whatever, and the judge at the federal court will consider, the child will adapt to the new culture very quickly. So there's no grounds, just go home. And actually, I recently just, helped with a motion at the federal court. Those couple had several failed attempts for immigration pass ahead. I won't go to the details. However, they have Canadian-born baby and they wanted to stay in Canada based on that criteria only. We went to the court for the incorrectness of the government officer's decision, not based on the merit of the baby only. So this is a very huge, I would say, misleading in TikTok or media, whatever. Just come here, have free baby. So yeah. So this is the humanitarian compassionate. Like I talked about humanitarian compassionate. Actually, many immigration lawyers are bouncing back to this, like what the government is doing here. So if I just did the research yesterday or the day before yesterday, I pretend to be a claimant or someone who submitted an immigration an application in October 2025 in the humanitarian compassionate in the category outside of Canada, and the waiting time is more than 10 years. And there are 49,400 people ahead of you. So the average time to deal with a humanitarian compassionate case is 5 years. So I've seen clients who are trapped in this category all the time. So that's why government actually is encouraging people who are in the refugee category or humanitarian category to apply for express entry and permanent residency in other paths if possible. Because they it's not for, I'm not saying that, if you have legitimate refugee claims, because I do see clients who have very miserable experience and who experience torture and suffering in their home country, who were not protected, and who came to my office and showed me all the scars in the torture, who was wrongfully in the prison for several months and tortured. And there is legitimate claim, I'm not against it. But if you claim refugee claim and humanitarian compassion and hope to stay in Canada only, extending your time in Canada only, and you will be trapped in this endless waiting time. And next page, you will see the refugee time. So this is the protected person and the conventional refugee in Canada outside of Quebec. I did the research yesterday. So it's 99 months for the wait. So when you're trapped in this system, really, it's really hard for you to change the employer to find another job or to settle your life, to establish your life well, because it's your immigration status is precarious. So it's the last joy. And also, once you become an immigration, once you become an international student, it's really hard to justify why you didn't claim your refugee claim at the very beginning of your study. But you at the end of your study, you say, "Oh, I want to become a refugee." So actually, the officer, we call it it's the adjudicator at the Immigration Refugee Board. They would doubt that. why didn't you claim at the very beginning and at the end of your study or at the end of your post-graduation work permit, you say, I want to claim a refugee. But like things happen as a case specific, but I would say this is not a shortcut. Because I do have clients showing up saying that, I heard claiming refugee will make me, just have the shortcut to get to the immigration system. Like, do you really want to get into that? 10 years waiting. Will be like, the children will, from the kindergarten to high school, finish, their complete education for this time. Like, is this what you ask for? Like, it's really a question mark, for some people who think they can take advantage of this system. Sorry, go ahead. Yeah. Oh, yeah, another question. Can you pay to get a LIMIA job? $80,000, you will get a LIMIA job, and you will get a pay stub, pat ahead, and you will get, all the record for your immigration. So this is something that actually one of my clients shared with me from the Toronto market, from a consulting firm at the Toronto market. It just pay me $80,000 and I will give you the job ahead. And that's why, the answer is no. So that's why now the immigration IRCC noted that, and you probably heard that in the media. They are claiming so many frauds in the LIMIA work permit because it's become a business. And people are selling this to vulnerable immigrants. And immigrants, some international students, they do believe they could get this permanent residency through this path. And they paid $80,000 in cash, and they got nothing. So there are many frauds here. And later, next section, I will talk about who can represent you in the immigration system. Okay. So this is the labor market impact assessment. And this is information that I always check. Because sometimes, I did a LIMIA. It's called LIMIA, L-M-I-A. So I did a LIMIA application, in this industry. And 3 months later, the client, another client, come up and saying that, oh, can you do this? And I usually go back to see, if there's any change with the LIMIA. And also, because Kingston, the market, I kind of want to do the general practice in immigration. And in big cities like Toronto, Montreal, there are lawyers who do one kind of LIMIA application only. When I have questions, I usually check with a lawyer I know, and he does the nanny program only, so caretaker program only. So he is very familiar with the industry and everything. So for me, because I kind of collected clients from different industries, sometimes the clients will come to me and talk about their industry and help me to understand the industry. So every information is online. So on the LIMIA website, and you can check this information yourself, and it's not secret. Okay. Yeah. And then it's coming to my point, it's practical tips. What should I do to increase my score, the points? First, by no means, you cannot change your age, right? Do not pretend to be your 10 years younger, fill it out, and I'm 10 years younger to get the extra points. And second, do not hide if you have spouse. In the immigration system, because I heard this is pretty interesting. A lawyer friend who came to me, and she is married. She said, my score will be hurt if I add my husband in. And then I say to her, don't get married, postpone it later. She was planning wedding. It's maybe postpone it until, you submitted everything into the system. Because you cannot hide the fact that you have a spouse or a child, which will decrease your points. And after you, you're invited as a single person, and you finally disclose, oh, I have a wife or a husband. I want to invite him or her as the sponsorship in the family, immigration. This will constitute misrepresentation. So misrepresentation is the legal term, which means you lie. Yeah, you lie. And misrepresentation can be intentional or unintentional, but the government will not distinguish, the legal system will not distinguish these two. So for lawyers' jobs, sometimes we will argue in the federal court or in the appeal board saying that this misrepresentation is unintentional, like our client was not aware of these mistakes. But if you did it intentionally to increase your score, and it's just like impossible to justify your purpose and at the very beginning of your immigration application. So another point is for all kind of immigration applications, please keep it for 7 years. And if you do you hire someone, immigration consultant or lawyer who did your immigration application before, you need to have a complete package for what they submitted to the system, because this is your document. I actually come across several times the clients coming to me without knowing anything about their immigration applications after paying so much money. And they say, oh, my consultant just submitted everything for me, or oh, my lawyer just submitted everything for me. It's your document. You have the right to have a complete copy of your application. And also, as the client, I will always say to my clients, it's your case, and I always prepare the application and send it to the clients for their review before the final submission, because it's important to make sure that the spelling is correct and the family members are correct. You cannot believe that once I have a client showing up and told me that my visa is rejected, work permit was rejected. Why? Because when someone else, like his agent in his home country, prepared his study permit to Canada, they made up some family members he didn't know at all. And when he submitted his work permit, he submitted his real families, and it came out as misrepresentation. And the visa officer said, we checked the previous application, and your families were not these people, and they're these people. And it was not until that time he realized what the immigration consultant or whatever, an authorized representative submitted the application for him. So you always make sure, even if you hire someone, and you make sure that you have a complete package of everything, and so that you are not falling into the trap, because you want to make sure everything is matching in the history. But also there's in the visa applications, there's also a question, list all the address you lived in the past 10 years. And list all the work experiences that you had in the past 10 years, right? So sometimes they say, oh, I've been there, I traveled to that city for 7 days. I cannot recall where I lived. You can just put a city there, and then you travel, because it's part of your travel history. So this is you need to disclose, when they ask information from you. Remember, this is immigration law. We talked about immigration law. Immigration law is part of the administrative law. It's a legal system, and you have the obligation not to lie to the legal system. And misrepresentation is not the ultimate penalty. The ultimate penalty is deportation or the cancellation of a permanent residency, because they look at the back to see, oh, this is not genuine. What happened? You just lied to us. And also, what kind of surprised me, I didn't know that. When I submitted my visa application, I came here as postdoc, visiting scholar at Queen's. And then later, then I came with my children, and we later filed a refugee claim based on domestic violence. And without going into the details, I have that legal claim against the government about the child tax benefit, which post me on Toronto Star. And at the court, I was the witness to be cross-examined, and the federal government put out all my visa application materials, which supported me to come to Canada in 2016, and they questioned the financial document towards me, saying that you submitted this financial document for your visa application, and saying that you have the financial ability and to come to Canada, and now you claim this child tax benefit 3 years later. So it was kind of shocking to me, because you need to know that everything you submitted to the IRCC will be is disclosed to the government. So this is the open materials for the government if they have any government-related cases against you. So this is something that you need to be aware of. Okay. Sorry. We'll just go back so for the practical tips. So another thing is I will talk about Canadian work experience is also the key. When you find a job, sometimes there are very little difference between the job description, but sometimes the very little difference can be one job is the management position, and the other job is just lay person. So this is something that you need to talk to your employer when they give you the offer. And because sometimes the employer, especially for your open work permits, they don't care. They just give you the job offer. It's just whatever. But to you, it actually means different points in different system. So this is the point that you look for the knock system, and you can talk to your employer. Can you modify this job offer? Because this is what I'm actually doing, and this fits my job description. Can you make the contract closer to this job description? And 9 out of 10 occasions, your employer will say, "Oh, for sure, I will do that," because it didn't take any advantage of them to do that, take any huge effort for them to do that, but it will change you a lot. And another thing I will want to talk about, a language test, English language test, CELPIP, IELTS, whatever, and French. If possible, French will give you a huge weight in your pointing system. Another thing I will mention is, people will say to you, it's too late to immigrate to Canada now. You just passed the golden time. Yeah, the golden time has gone. The best time to plant a tree is 10 years ago and now. You already missed the 10 years ago, plant it now. In Chinese, we have this old saying that the journey of 1,000 miles begin with a single step. So if you step out doing it now, it will change. And I have to confess that I'm not doing it very well. Sometimes I feel, especially in training, working out, having muscles, I just want to have my ice cream. I just want to give it up. But eventually, it's getting better and better. And at some point, you will see the change. Suddenly, it's just like this. It just changed, and dramatically. So don't get frustrated if you don't see any immediate effort, payout from the efforts that you are paying to. You are getting better. I cannot imagine me speaking to you in English 8 years ago when I was studying English as second language. What is the language, what the word damp me, right? And now I'm writing submission to the court, I'm preparing documents to the court, and I'm wearing the robe and going to the court and arguing in front of the judge and adjudicator. So it will change. It just will take time. Sometimes when you make efforts, why it's not changing? Why my life is still miserable? It just takes time, and time will tell everything. And the other thing I would just say, you are who you think you are. Do not lower down your bar because of how people say to you. People will say to you, I did this and I got my PR. I just lied to the government, I got it and I was never caught. Just you, when you come to a new country, especially, what I feel when I went to law school, many of my classmates are judges' kids and big law firms partners' kids. And they already have their reputation by their last name, because their last name is so famous in this area. And when I went to law school, even if when I went to look for a job after law school, people will look at me, who are you? We don't recognize, how can I pronounce this name? Foreign name, it's who are you? I don't know you, you're not reliable. But you are building up your reputation by your daily step. If you lower down, I actually, in this legal practice, there are many shortcuts that I can take. And I sometimes, as a lawyer, say to me, I won't make money because I stick to a high standard of my practice. But I just feel, do I really want to make the quick money by lower down my bar? Or do I want to like grow slowly, and also, but on the right path. Sometimes shortcut will not lead you to the end. Probably will lead you to the dead end. And like people who fraud, like paid $50,000 to get a forced marriage certificate, got a PR, and eventually lived in Canada for 15 years, and like divorced and got remarried again, have a legitimate family, have a restaurant, owns a business, and the federal government reviewed it back and called you back. Your first, how did you get your first PR? We now question that. So we've seen these cases at a federal court, like all the time. Like people who are paying so much money, paying so much effort, so many efforts to correct what they did in the past, and they just took the shortcut. I won't say it will bite you off all the time, but I will say, you are really like what you think you are. Because if you think I'm the liar, I'm the cheater, I can just take advantage of this system, and you will just lower your bar and fit into stereotype people have on the propaganda. But if I say I want to be a reliable, trustworthy person, and words spread out, people will see who you are, and you cannot believe how job opportunities just come out unexpectedly. I actually approached an immigrant. Do you want to work for me, for a couple of months? And then it's like, oh, I really like you. I want to keep you. So it's from some, especially in small towns. Your job opportunities sometimes just come up from your teacher, saying that I know that person is hiring. Do you want to go there and try? So yeah, so this is the way for you to build up your reputation. Even if you come from a country, people don't recognize your last name. I have clients who are from noble families in their home country, and they were refugees here once, and they become permanent residents in Canadian citizenship, and they have a very humble life here in Canada. But you can see that they are from noble family because they care, they pay, they give to people, they help people settle in their home for free when these people from their home country arrive in Canada. And they treat me with respect, and even if they are frustrated with the result of the case, and they still respect me, and also treat me with dignity. And this is how you want to be treated, and you treat people like that. And I would say, from my personal experience, I went through I encounter racism, sometimes disrespect all the time. Sometimes I do want to retaliate, fight back. But is this the correct way to do that? I just feel, I know who I am, and I don't want to do that. I don't want to be like them. And so that's why I feel, if you want to distinguish yourself from sometimes, unfortunately, sometimes it can be your group of people, your people don't have good reputation on media or whatever. And if you want to distinguish yourself from them, you can do that. Okay, so we were talking about who can represent you. So in the IRPA, this is the Immigration and Refugee Law Act. This is the governing legal law for immigration. So in immigration, in IRPA, so this is also online, Justice Law website. This is the Canadian government website. And if you look for the federal law, and this is how the website looks like. It's ugly, but it's the government resources, you know that. And so actually it says, who can represent you? A lawyer, an immigration consultant, and yeah, so a lawyer, a notary public in Quebec. Notary public in Quebec is the different legal system, but in Ontario, it's the lawyer who have a good stand in Ontario. So we were talking about, please go ahead, thank you. So how can you find a lawyer? Lawyer and paralegal, you can find this information from the Law Society of Ontario. And even if for all kind of legal issues, if you want to see what is this lawyer is doing, you can look for this a Law Society of Ontario lawyer directory. It will come to this page, and the reason that I want to show this page, this is the Law Society website. is on the right side is the make a claim, make a complaint. So if the lawyer misconduct has any misconduct, you can make a complaint pretty easy from the law society. I have clients who made a reasonable complaint, believe it or not. I have clients who threat to retain me. He wants to retain me, but it's like, I cannot retain you because you're too complicated to deal with for the personality, not the case, the nature of the case. And he actually threatened to complain me, and he says, I want to retain you. I want you to be my lawyer. So like, I want to complain you to the law society because you don't want to be my lawyer. It's like, okay, so this is like, but it's like, if you have any issues with the legal bills, you need to go to the court for the assessment. So the court, like, they have an assessment officer to assess your legal bills. But if you have any other issues, you believe, your case is wrongly represented, it's not handled, it's forgotten, the lawyer just disappeared, like it's on the newspaper, you can make a complaint on the law society here. And please go ahead. So this is like if you search my information, you will find my information on the lawyer directory. And the first is my law society number, and this is all my information. I'm in status of lawyer, like I don't have any regulated history. If the lawyer was ever regulated by misrepresenting the clients or misconducting, you will see the regulatory history here. Because I also do litigation cases. Like I sometimes look at the other side, and the other side's lawyer, and it's like, she has a huge regulatory history. No wonder she was so, she lied to the court. Oh, I'm not surprised. So you can see all this information here, and what kind of additional language the lawyer speaks, and also the practice area is the lawyer fill out what areas you're into. And this is a contacting information. And if someone who calls themselves lawyer, and you cannot find them if they are in Ontario, if not, you cannot find them here, they're probably not lawyers. Because there are lawyers who were lawyers in their home country, but they are not licensed in Ontario. And they still call themselves lawyers when they help immigrants, but they are not. So lawyers can be fined on this page all the time. And also there are lawyers who are in practice or they are not. You can find this information like status definition in private practice, like I'm in my own practice, and sometimes you will see status definition here, and they are not in practice. That means they probably surrender their license, or maybe they are on maternity leave or whatever leave they are on, and they are not in practice means they are not paying their insurance or membership fee, so they cannot practice in Ontario. So sometimes there are lawyers who I know who surrender and they don't want to practice law anymore, but they cannot give you legal advice if they are not in the active practice status. Go ahead, and you will see. So this is the regulated immigration consultant page, RCIC. The problem for ICRC is they were some information about RCIC because their governing body is not regulating them very well. So this caused so many complaints against the immigration consultant. Because I also I scroll down TikTok. I have to confess, this is my TikTok because I'm in my information bubble. So TikTok will give me all this immigration information, and people were talking about, oh, I'm regulated by IRCC, immigration board give me this license. No, they are not licensed by the immigration board. They are licensed by the college, and the college has now actually with the urge from the lawyers and other people in this system who are victims of immigration frauds, and we are requesting the college to regulate. And now I know it's only Queen's Law is having the master program for a new immigration consultant and in English, and McGill has the immigration consultant in French. However, those immigration consultants in the past, they just went to common college, just Seven Hours College, whatever, and they got their license pretty easy by 8 months program. So some of them are very good. Some of the immigration consultants, I read their X Twitter, Okay, so I read their Instagram, I also join their program, but some of them are just not qualified to practice at all because they have no knowledge of what they're doing. So you can find an immigration consultant by their license number here. And other professions like law clerks, case managers, settlement workers, or case coordinators, they are not qualified to represent you independently. I have clients coming to me saying that I have my lawyer in that law firm and turned out to be the law clerk. It's not a lawyer, probably because that person speaks the language that my client speaks, so she thought it was the lawyer. It's not. It's the law clerk and it's the case managers, and also settlement workers. Keys. Immigration service, ISCA. They are helping you to prepare the documents for free, and they cannot charge you, as legal representative. And also another thing is for paralegal. Paralegal, according to the Law Society of Ontario, paralegal cannot represent you for immigration applications. They can represent you for refugee board only, and they cannot do any about the paperwork of immigration applications. So this is something that you need to figure out. And immigration consultant, only those who are certified can represent a client in the immigration refugee board. They cannot represent you at the federal court. Immigration consultant, if they have they prepared your visa application and your visa application is rejected, and they came back to you and saying that I can take you to federal court and just submit it by yourself, and I charge you $5,000 to prepare the documents. No, they cannot do that. Only lawyers can represent you at a federal court. Paralegal, no, they cannot. So this is something that you need to be aware once you decide to go and retain some professional. Okay, so there are red flags. I've seen this all the time, as I said, because I'm in my information cocoon and I receive all this TikTok all the time. Guaranteed visa and 100% approval claims. And also saying that, oh, we do the cash only fees and we won't give you any lack of receipts. We won't give you any receipts. We will communicate on WhatsApp only, or Telegram, or in Chinese versions, WeChat. This is the best way, hooray, or whatever. I once took a case from a lawyer who communicated with his client only through WhatsApp. It's what the heck? It's cash only. Give me cash, and then for the receipt you have, it should have the corporation name. It should have the HSC number. And for law firm, like my law firm, I can use professional corporation. It's a law professional corporation. I can use that. For immigration consultants, they cannot use that. They can only use consulting company. But consulting company is not only run by immigration consultants. Sometimes they have different people. Education consultant, and they want to advise you on your visas. They actually cannot do that. But I know in the market there are so many people doing that. And also, if a person is refused to show you their license, if RCAC, immigration or lawyer, so it's really skeptical. And please go ahead. Can you, friend, fill out your PR forms or visa application, charge you $500. I've seen international students doing this all the time, and they say, "Oh, I have experience filling out the forms. I can help you do that. You don't spend $2,000 with a lawyer. Just give me $500. I will help you to do that." It's wow. No, you cannot. And also for the federal court, especially if your case goes to the federal court, it's not. You prepare your application and just need a lawyer to go to court argue for you. In Canada, in this system, don't be misled by the legal drama and this shiny moment for the lawyer to overturn the case in the court. Everything is almost in writing, and it's in the memorandum submitted to the court before, or the judge will say to you, I will have a written submission from both counsels after this argument. So there's the key point is once you have the case going to the federal court, you definitely need a lawyer. You can be, you can self-represent, in small courts landlord-tenant board. some like small claim court. But federal court is like not. I will say, like, because it has the regulation, and you cannot say, I will just generate from ChatGPT and give me the argument. Please don't do that. Because another thing is, like, when you throw everything to ChatGPT, and the system, like the immigration system is using the AI, they are using AI Chinook, and they're using 3 software. To detect it if AI generated like information. So I actually always tell my clients, you can prepare the letter with AI to polish your writing, but don't ask AI to generate a letter, because it will trigger the red flag. When it goes to the system, they will see it's not a genuine letter. So you cannot, like when people on the immigration consultants, they posted like all international students, they posted online saying that, this is the template you use to invite your family to come to Canada. What the heck? It's like you will be red flagged by the system. And you don't want to trigger the system saying that, especially immigration, like visa officers. Many of them are not trained in the legal system. They are not legal professionals. Many of them have the background in military, veterans. They come here. We're here to choose the best people for Canada. This is like with the Chinook, like the AI system telling me this is rejected. I'm going to reject it. Bye. So that's why like you don't want to trigger the AI system, and don't use ChatGPT. Like do some work like for your own application. Okay. Yeah, I already talked about can paralegal prepare your work permit application? No, they cannot do any paperwork in the immigration system. Okay. So for I will talk about like we'll be quick and talk about like your work status. As a student, you have 24 hours that on your student visa that you can work, and I understand immigration like legal system is not the final option. Sometimes you have to balance your life option and your your legal option. However, I will urge like international students to comply with your visa requirement. If you need to work extra hour, try to apply for a separate work permit, which you can. You can hold both work permit and study permit at the same time, and as long as you can justify that you will study and work well, like for both positions, you can. But if you only have study permit and you only have 24 hours, please stick to this time. Like I won't suggest you to work under the table, cash pay only, because it will put you into a vulnerable position. Given that you're international students holding the immigration status, you are vulnerable already. Don't corner yourself. Yeah. So yeah, very simple question. Can your landlord hold your passport as a security deposit? Don't do that. Don't do that. Okay, yeah, no, they cannot. They cannot hold your passport. They cannot check your, they can ask for your immigration status because they want to make sure that you are here legitimately, right? And if they ask, you can decide if you want to disclose or not, but they cannot hold your passport. Yeah. So this is the law for Residential Tenancy Act. I will say to this is the website that you can find this information, and I will say if you decide to own rent a place with your friend, please read everything you sign. Don't sign anything on a blank paper, and don't do any shake hand deals if it is involved with money. Okay, I do commercial litigation on before, I'm still doing a little bit of commercial litigation. We deal with monetary disputes all the time when it's the deal done between several immigrants by shaking hand only. And if there's money involved, there's legal rights involved, and you need to read carefully for everything that you sign. Okay. Okay, so can your boss hold your passport as security for work? Great, because this is a huge issue for harassment and also exploitation. your boss has the legal right to ask you to provide him a copy of your work permit, because they don't want to be punished for hiring illegal workers. But they are not entitled to hold your passport. So, yeah. Okay, so this is the ESA, Employment Standard Act. And this is pretty straightforward. You're entitled to pay for the minimum wage, and you're entitled for all this payment. You're entitled to have T4 at the end of the year to file your tax. If you go to your boss and say that I want to get my T4, and your boss give you the wrong T4, saying that, oh, much lower, because he can pay, by doing that, he wants to pay lower tax to the CRA. And you can report to CRA, and you can report to the ESA for this like wrong information, because you're entitled to get the correct information. Because your employment history will impact your immigration history. So this is your right. And it's not, saying that, oh, your boss wants to save some money. Once you're hired, you have the right to do that. Okay. Go ahead. So, yeah, I already this is a scenario that when international students only works she works like 24 hours a week. Sorry, and his boss is saying that if he doesn't work overtime, he will call the immigration and to report his status. So this is a classic abuse at workplace and exploitation, and which constitute a violation of the laws in Canada. So, next question. Yeah, so Maria's employer calls her 3 months for job training without pay. So this is incorrect. All the training at job place should be paid. However, if it's like a placement, program, it's different, because it's like they have the employers have agreement with the school, like institution, for that information. Okay. So yeah, can you be fired for asking about your pay? Technically, no, but yes, you will be fired. But you have the legal right to claim against your previous boss, because this is your legal right to get the correct T4. Yeah. Believe it or not, as a lawyer, I was once in a position like having this fight with my previous boss for correct information. Yeah. Can you work for 2 different employers with 1 LEMIA work permit? No. No. As I mentioned, don't put yourself into the vulnerable position. Yeah, because people will, don't hold the faith that everyone is nice. Yeah, okay. So can your boss refuse to provide you a LEMIA position, even if you're nominated by the Ontario Immigration Nominee Program? Because if you are on the open work permit, and then you're nominated by the, not nominated, sorry, it's wrong. I should say you are already enrolled into this Ontario ONIP program. Can your boss refuse to provide you a LEMIA? No? Yes. Your boss is not obligated to provide you a LEMIA application, LEMIA work permit in Canada. Your boss is not obligated to keep your maintained status in Canada. It's your job to keep your maintained status. However, your boss can assist you. And fortunately, I've seen so many bosses who are happy to assist their students, their employees who have extended, to help their employees to maintain their status in Canada. So there are good bosses, outside. And I will show you the website of which you can search which bosses are evil. Yeah, it's called non-compliance. So this is the website. You'll find the non-compliance. Non-compliance it's not like bosses are evil. Sometimes but if you go to this website, and if the employer has the non-compliance record, it's there forever. So you can track back to 1996. And non-compliance is not always for bad intention. Sometimes there are some errors in application. They missed one document, so they're RCC come back, and also we will give you a fine for $5,000, or they misplace one worker in the wrong position. So there are some history there. However, it's there forever. So if you see there's like a human rights violation from this employer, it will give you a red flag. Do I really want to work for them? Yeah, unless this company is sold to another owner, right? So like you can see all this information is public. So this is another way to protect it, because there are I would say some employers, they especially pick immigrants because they know like how much you value this position. Yeah. Okay. So criminal law system, because I go too much, like I will be quick. So yeah, just simple, straightforward. Don't do drugs. You will be deported. And don't like drive 200 on 401. You will be deported. And just don't go like daylight robbery. Like if your friend calls you, let's do that, you will be deported. And also another thing is it's a case I don't want to mention because probably you can figure out who they are, like boyfriend and girlfriend, and they had a quarrel on the street. And the boy slapped the girl on the face, and he was arrested and caused some criminal consequences with that. It's a straightforward minor offense. However, it's still an offense. So there's some difference between your home country, what you can do in your home country and here in Canada. So, and also there are difference between what Canadian citizens can do and what permanent residency or visa holders cannot do. Because permanent residency, even if they have lived in Canada for a long time, and they will be triggered for deportation if they violate for criminal offenses, which is 10 years and equivalent to 10 years and 10 years and longer. So sometimes it's nothing in your home country, but if it is in the Canadian criminal code, it is something, and it's a serious crime. And it can be a problem in your visa application. And also, if you are charged in Canada, it's not connected to the immigration system. So some people say, I just stay silent, don't tell them. They will figure it out. So you have the right, you are obligated to report any of the criminal offenses to the immigration system. Because and also solve this problem as soon as possible. And my suggestion for you is once if there's any problem, triggered criminal offenses or criminal charges, contact the criminal lawyer and the immigration lawyer at the same time. Because some criminal lawyers just are not aware of immigration consequences at all. And you are immigrants, you need to be aware of this. Okay, so go ahead. We'll skip this part quickly. As I said, domestic violence, theft, DUI, and also drug driving. It's get high on marijuana driving. It's can trigger serious crime. I deal with international students. Most part is the DUI. Students who got fancy supercar, drove 220, in Toronto. What are you doing here, right? So don't cause problem. You are in this country, in the immigration system, you want to behave well and don't do insane things. And also parties, which Queens is notorious for, can be public nonsense, to especially unregulated party. Okay, so then this is the last part. Sorry for going a little bit time. I will be quick. So if you want to find any lawyers and who is the good one, sometimes Google reviews can you can pay for people to do the Google reviews, right? And so it's word of mouth. Some lawyer is good, right? Through your friends, or recommendation, word of mouth. And also there's a standard which is called the certified specialist, and which is on the Law Society website. And you can find certified specialists in immigration and refugee law, and there are only a handful of people there. And you can find certified specialists in all this kind of area. And this is certified by Law Society, and they are pretty usually they are pretty good. So I checked the lawyer list on the certified specialist in citizenship and immigration law. they are those leading lawyers in like our area, and kind of like my goal. Yeah, and also you have the resources here, KEYS, ISCA, and Kingston Immigration Partner, and your learning institutions resources, like I know St. Lawrence, Queens, and they have like employment center to help students with employment, and also your own community, like your friends, and your religious group, and they will have some paths, like. Yeah, I heard people get jobs from churches all the time. So yeah, reach out to people. Don't stay isolated. When you need help, reach out to people. And there are people, like KEYS and ISCA to help. And also there are like legal professions, like me to help. So don't cover it up. Don't just be anxious by yourself. You're not alone. And usually, like so far I've dealt with like clients with very complicated cases, but they're not the first one. And because this legal system has developed for like 40 years, and there are always case law ahead. Okay. Oh yeah, so another thing is like fast, cheap, good, fast, cheap, you can only choose two. So when you think about like you want to get immigration, do it correctly, I will always say like cheap is the one that you can ignore, but also in the reasonable spectrum, because lawyers should charge by their like spectrum of hourly rate. So my like rate, for example, my rate is combined with like I give a flat rate, but it's based on the average like hours that I and my team spend on this case. So if a lawyer comes to you and asks you $80,000 in cash, it's a red flag, because like going to the court, like I would say, the best lawyer in this industry, I would say civil litigation, commercial litigation, their rate is about $900 per hour. So on average rate for lawyers is around like $400 to $500 per hour. So like if someone charge you like $80,000, it means like several days at a trial. So it's unreasonable. But like for reasonable price, you should like have like sense. But there are immigration like consulting firm who publish unreasonable low price, and this is we call it the value firm. So this is different way of doing business. I'm not criticizing any firms who provide a cheap service, but what they do is technically, let's say, hire like different staff and doing the cases, and say lawyers even don't check the case. And I have like a client who went to the court and saw her lawyer the first time at the court. Like this is definitely a no thing, because you're in like professional service industry, and you want your case to be well taken care. Okay, so this is the frauds, like online, and you can find this information everywhere, like the frauds, and sometimes this information is mainly with the immigration consultants, but they are also with lawyers, unfortunately. Yeah, I just hope you will always come across the good legal representatives. I will say to you honestly, those immigration lawyers I know, because I also sit on the Ontario Bar Association immigration section, and I sit on as an executive member there. And the lawyers I know in the immigration law section, they are generally very generous and sympathetic. Because many of us, for example, like I can do commercial litigation. I can go to the court to do like corporate cases, but I choose to do immigration law because I do have the heart for my clients. I'm so tired of disputing with like $200,000, settlement difference, and in the commercial cases, because in immigration it's life or death circumstance. If you messed up the case, the client will be deported, right? So yeah, so many lawyers I know in this industry have good reputation. They are good lawyers, and they can make so much money, and they choose to lower their rate to do the immigration. It's not for money only. Okay, so that's the end of my presentation.